Hello viewers, today's lecture will be on Shiva Mahadeva, the god of gods in ancient Indian texts. He has been worshipped for thousands of years. His cult developed from the homeland of the Shakas in Central Asia to Kanyakumari. There are numerous myths and legends associated with him. He was married to Parvati, the daughter of the Himalayas. He is Lord of Yogis and the foremost teacher of yoga. He killed the demons Andhakasura and the demon of darkness, and Tripura, the demon of the three cities of gold, silver and copper. He resides in the highest peaks of the Kailash mountain, which is the symbol of the highest mind. V.S. Agarwal says the great Kailash is a symbol of the highest mind on which Shiva has his eternal abode as the universal divine principle wrapped in samadhi or mental illumination, where universal consciousness throws open its inmost sheets for the vision of man. Mahadeva is named as Rudra and Shiva in Indian tradition. He is identified with Agni. Agni is stated to be of a double aspect, with Rudra in his terrible form and Shiva in his auspicious form. Rig Veda states, "O Agni, you are Rudra." In the Satpatha Brahmana, it is said, who is Rudra is the same as Agni. Dandya Brahmana states, Rudra is Agni. Taittiriya Brahmana narrates that which is Agni is Rudra. Agni is two-folded, hot and cold, the former being destructive and the later benevolent. So is God, Shiva, in his terrible or Bhairava form, but in his form of Shiva is auspicious and sustainer of the life process. In his former aspect, he became the destroyer of the sacrifice and roamed about with a begging bowl asking for food. In Rudra mythology, that is represented as Ardhanari Ishvara, half male and half female aspect of Shiva. In the Rig Veda, Rudra is called the father of the Maruts. The hosts of Maruts are said to be the sons of Rudra. They are the associates of Indra, indicating to a conception in which Rudra and Indra, both prototypes of fire. In the Rig Veda, Indra is a great dancer, as Shiva is a Nat Raja in the Puranas. It is interesting to note the similarities of Indra and Shiva in Indian mythology. Indra is spoken of as the great bull, Vrishna, and the same bull represents the god Kamadeva, who was conquered by Shiva and made the leader of the Ganas. The Nandi bull, as representing Kamadeva, signifies the principle of Laya. Shiva is the presiding deity of the mind. Indra also is one aspect, is called Manasavan, means the god of mind. Shiva's forehead is adorned with the crescent moon. It represents the highest principle of intelligence and consciousness. The sun, moon, and fire are said to be the triple eye of the great god. Fire symbolizes the central energy, whereas sun and moon its twofold extension as heat and cold, as light and darkness. Shiva's trident is a symbol of the trident pattern of creation. The three spikes of trident correspond to the three gunas which bring the cosmos into existence. It is identical with Indra's three prolonged thunderbolt, Vajra. The sun symbolizes the principle of heat, the moon that of cold, and the fire, a blending of these two. The sun is on the right side, the moon on the left, and the fire in the center. Three eyes of Shiva are the symbols of the Tridentine principle of manifestation. Rudra occupies almost the same status in the Sautra Sutras as in the Brahmanas. He has many epithets such as Rudra, Bhava, Bhutapati, Pashupati, and Mahadeva, Sarva. He is the destroyer of all diseases. At one place, reference is made to the presentation of a rat to Shiva. Rudra is explained as Shiva and Shankara in the Graha Sutras. The Graha Sutras refer to the image worship for the first time. The Bhaudhyana Graha Sutra describes the process of installation, the image of Vishnu and Shiva. In the Ashtadhyayi of Panini has same epithets Bhava and Sarva extra. Kautilya's Arthashastra also refers to the temples of Shiva and other gods. Patanjali in his Mahavashya refers to Shiva by numerous names, and his devotees are called as Shiva Bhagavatas. It also refers the images of Shiva and Skanda. In the epics, Rudra Shiva is shown as a benevolent god. He is the savior of all the mankind and is merciful. In the Mahabharata, Shiva is the creator, omnipresent and omniscient. It is interesting to note that Nandi has been mentioned in the Ramayana for the first time. Karna Parva refers epithets of Shiva, Ishvara, Maheshwara, Mahadeva, Bhagavan, and Shiva. Anusashana refers that all the gods, including Brahma and Vishnu, seek refuge in him. Ashavghosha in his Buddha Chrit mentions Rudra by the name of Vrishadhvaja and Bhava, along with his son Skanda and consort Parvati. He is visualized as the highest god, the creator, the greatest soul in the Puranas. If he enjoys the highest position in the Shiva Purana, he is regarded as subordinate to Vishnu in the Vaishnava Puranas. This sectarian rivalry altered into love and affection, and he is often identified with Vishnu. In numerous Puranas, both the gods are one and the same. The Saura Purana states that Krishna got the gift of chakra from Shiva. In the Linga Purana, Vishnu is shown as worshipping Mahadeva. The Vaishnava Puranas state that Vishnu is the supreme god who was worshipped by Shiva. He is regarded as Chanda, Bhairava and Mahakala in some of the Puranas. His ganas includes Rakshasas, Danavas, Daityas, Gandharvas and Yakshas. Shiva's matted locks represent the world in all its endless forms. The matted locks are as vast and complicated as the affairs of the world. Shiva is known as Gangadhara. The Ganga is a river of life which permeates every nook and corner of the worldly creation. Its ceaseless flow from the beginning to the end of time as a mighty stream which makes all material forms sanctified by its water. On the body of Shiva is besmeared dust. Fire is always accompanied by its ashes. The creation is conceived of as the portion that has separated as a drop from its source, the Brahmanas. It is known as pravagya, that is the slice from the main cake. Shiva is the lord of all creatures and therefore called Pashupati. The word Pashu denotes a Puranic center. The Pashus are numberless. The bond that binds them together are known as Pasha. Each Pashu is an exemplar of the life principle. Shiva is called the hunter. Labdhaka or Mriga Vadya, with a bow and shooting shafts in all directions. He is like the hunter in the midst of a herd of deer. Shiva is called Bhutapati, the lord of matter. Deva is light and Bhuta is darkness. The former represented truth, immortality, light, and later represented death and darkness. Rudra is derived from a root denoting to be red. It is the color of the Rajas. According to the Satapatha Brahmana, Rudra is a synonym of Indra. There is another etymology of Rudra in which he is associated with Rudasi. The meaning of Rudasi is heaven and earth. The conception of Vedic Rudasi becomes Ardhanari Eshwara in Puranic formulation. Shiva and Shakti are inseparable. The one cannot exist without the other. Shiva is verily the god of the mountain and Parvati is the daughter of the mountain. God Rudra, Shiva, is conceived of having 5 faces. The names of the 5 faces are as follows: Ishana, Tatpurusha, Akhura, Vamadeva, Satyajata. Vamadeva is a beautiful face representing the water. Aghura represents fire and Tatpurusha represents air and Ishan goes to space. Satyajata corresponds to the material element of the earth. These 5 are also stylized as Panchana, which make up the political organization of the kingdom of Prajapati. The followers of the Adhyatma school explained Panchana as the 5 sense organs, namely eye, ear, mind, speech and vital air. The Panchachanas were also known as Pancha Krishna, 5 cultures, or Pancha Krishna, 5 plough lands, or 5 abodes. A notable epithet of God Shiva is Ashtamurti. denoting that the god Shiva has 8 forms. In the opening verse of Malavika Gnimitra, Kalidasa says that God Shiva upholds the entire creation by means of his 8 forms. In the invocation to his other drama, Abhanam Shakuntala, the poet mentions of the manifest forms of Shiva as follows: water, fire, earth, air, space, the sun and the moon, the sacrifice. Shiva in his absolute forms is one. In the Mahabharata and the Puranas, Shiva is spoken of as Sarabha, a fabulous animal more puissant than an elephant, a lion, a leopard or a tiger, and are said to have 8 feet, 4 as usual and 4 on the back projecting toward the sky. Banabhat refers worship of Shiva by the Ashta Pushpika method, offering 8 handful of flowers. The Linga Purana elaborates the Ashtamurti doctrine named Sarva, Bhava, Pashupati, Ishna, Bhimarudra, Mahadeva and Ugra. Kalidasa agrees with the versions of the Shiva Linga Purana in placing Ugra at the end. The 8 names and 8 forms of Shiva also met within the other Puranas, that is Shiva Purana, Brahman Purana, Natashastra. 10-headed Ravana shakes Kailash is prominent legend regarding Shiva in the Atharvaveda. Ravana is portrayed as a demon and he was a great devotee of Shiva. He performed penances and the god was pleased and conferred on his devotee a boon that he would become arrogant of his powers. Thought of trying his strength against the great god Mahadeva himself. Ravana in his foolish pride thinks that he can disturb Shiva and Parvati, but Shiva has lifted himself above all the temptations of senses by virtue of his conquering of the god of love. The greatest exploit of Shiva was the drinking of poison, which earned for him the title of Mahadeva. When the ocean was voicing deadly poison came out along the various jewels, the gods had no courage to withstand the effect of the poison, and Shiva was the only god who could drink the poison within himself and earn the title of the death-conquering god of gods, Mrityunjaya. There are 2 aspects of the deity with matted locks. He is known as Kesan in one aspect in which he has the form of Agni, and in another he is the carrier of poison. He was given the epithet Nilkantha, the deity of the blue throat. A choice epithet of Shiva is Gangadhara, that is, he carries the 1,000-fold floods of the river Ganga in his matted hair. Shiva is well known for smearing ashes on his body. In some of the Puranas, as the Vamana Purana, the smearing of ashes is much glorified. 2 other epithets of Shiva, Kaparadin and Kapalin. Kaparada is the mass of matted locks, and Kapala is the human skull. The human head or garlands of skulls brought by Shiva are nothing but symbols of dead matter enlivened by prana. Digambara, or the nude god, whose garment is the 4 direction of space. The symbolism is rooted in the Vedic conception of Mahadeva, the great newt. The canopy of the elephant skin worn by the god in the beginning of his dance has earned for him title Kriti va Saha, he who is clad in the garment of the skin. Shiva also wears a tiger skin. The tiger is the wild animal of the forest. The Satpatha Brahmana explains the symbolism of the wild animal and the domesticated animal. Shiva is conceived of the great pillar of light Jyotirlinga. He is the infinite tower of fire whose two ends are hidden in mystery. Ardhanarishwar is one of the most majestic forms of Shiva. It had its antiquity in Vedic symbolism. It is stated in the Rig Veda, what you describe to me as male are in the reality also female. He who has the penetrative eye of the mind discerns this truth, and not the blind who sees with the physical eye only. The Naratya Purana conceives of the Ardhanarishwar form as a person of half black and half yellow form, nude on one side and clothed on the other, wearing skulls and a garland of lotuses in the two halves respectively, showing the male features on the right and the female on the left. Shiva Purana, Matsya Purana and Linga Purana contain lots of material on Ardhanarishwar form of Shiva. There is a composite form of Rudra Shiva named as Harihara. In this aspect, in his right half is Shiva and the left half is Vishnu. It is stated in the Brihan Natya Purana that Rishi Jaimini recited the Veda Pada Satruta behind the image of Harihara. The Rig Veda, the Matsya Purana, Harivamsa are delineated with the image of Harihara. The great God in his changeless eternal form and tortoise forms is known as Sthanu and Pramatha. The Sthanu form is changeless, represented by the Linga, a form of Shiva. Rudra, the Vedic equivalent of Shiva, begins to take his place clearly as the deity of transcent, embodiment of the disintegrating tendency, tamasa, only in the Upanishads. The Puranas and the Agamas, in which the myths and rituals of Shiva cult are expounded, form a vast literature which contains mixed with later material, some of the oldest documents on Indian origin. The most important documents which remain today on the symbolism, the myths, the philosophy of early Shaivism are found in the Shaiva Agamas, the Shiva Upanishads, the 6 Shaivite Puranas. Shiva is everything. 1008 names of Shiva are given in the Shiva Purana, chapter 17th of the Anusashana Parva of the Mahabharata. While studying the significance of the different aspects of Shiva represented by these names, we need not usually refer to their historic origin. Some of these names may have belonged originally to the deities of various pre-Aryan people. Most of the more common names of Shiva are descriptive epithets such as three-eyed Prilocana, blue-throated Nilakantha, five-faced Panchayana, moon Krisit, Chandra Shekhra, beard of the Ganges, Gangadhara, mountain lord, Grisha extra. Shiva is the death of death, that is eternal life. On the other hand, it is from destruction that life arises.